When I was appointed, I decided I would speak more often and more openly, where doing so could advance Britain's national interest. But we have more road yet to travel. We're still only 40% female staff, ethnic minorities are just under 10% of our officers, and we need to do more to attract people from economically deprived backgrounds of all races. Nowhere have we needed to change faster than in the technology space. Our adversaries are looking to leverage cutting-edge technologies to attack UK interests with ever greater precision and scale. At MI6, we need to do two things simultaneously: counter these tech-infused threats, while also harnessing technological advances for our own purposes, the sort of technology which emerges from universities, from startups, from big tech, from international collaboration, like this week's UK-US tech partnership, as well as, of course, from our brilliant in-house technologists. We support bold, brave firms with big ideas in fields like quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and synthetic biology. And for the UK, this delivers both advances in our own national security capabilities and creates valuable high-tech jobs at home. This is how we stay ahead, not by retreating deeper into secrecy, but being open enough to form the right partnerships, recruiting staff from every part of society, and adapting at the speed of the threats we face. So, when I said we needed to be more open to stay secret, I meant it. It's about pace, it's about innovation, it's about building trust within UKIC and then extending trust to partners beyond. Russia's unprovoked and illegal invasion of Ukraine. We have been at the forefront of efforts to support the Ukrainians in their self-defense and their defense of the principles on which we all depend for our peace and security. The leadership of President Zelenskyy has been critical. I remember the man I hosted for lunch in my first week as chief. He was still pretty new into politics, an untried and untested leader. But even then, you could sense the grit and determination. To have watched him become the leader he is has been a remarkable privilege. My admiration for him is unbounded. He thought he was going to win an easy victory, but he and many others underestimated the Ukrainians. Indeed, Putin's actions have strengthened Ukrainian national identity and accelerated the country's Western trajectory, as well as persuaded Sweden and Finland into joining NATO. It is the support that China has consistently given to Russia, both diplomatically and also in terms of dual-use goods, the made-in-China chemicals that end up in their shells, the electronic components that end up in their missiles, that have prevented Putin from reaching the conclusion that peace is his best option. Putin is not Russia, and not all Russians subscribe to Putinism. Some keep their heads down and try to get on with their lives as best they can. Some, like Alexei Navalny, resist openly and die for their beliefs. But others do so secretly by working with MI6. Intelligence officers immerse themselves in the cultures of their interlocutors. Russia is in many ways a big part of the history of MI6. The country holds a special place within the service. MI6 is full of men and women who know and love many of the achievements of Russian culture and who understand and respect the sacrifices of its people in our shared struggle against Nazi Germany. To those men and women in Russia who have truths to share and the courage to share them, I invite you to contact MI6. As Russia declines, so China rises. The 21st century will undoubtedly be defined by the rise of the Middle Kingdom, a major player in the global system, a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and a country that is seeking to deepen its regional alliances. China has unique responsibilities that come with its size and ambition. In many areas of the global commons, climate change, secure artificial intelligence, and world trade, China has a huge and welcome role to play. We in the UK want a respectful and constructive relationship with China. But China needs to stick to the established rules of engagement and non-interference that it publicly promotes. I hear the concerns of my colleague, Director of MI5, Sir Ken McCallum, about Chinese interference in the UK. And we in the UK will be robust in defending our freedoms, our way of life, and our economic security. Iran has featured heavily throughout my period in office. A nuclear-free Iran must remain a priority. And Gaza needs peace too for such a reset to take hold in the region and to prevent the further appalling suffering of innocent Palestinians. In recent years, terrorist organizations such as so-called Islamic State and Al-Qaeda have been damaged by a collective effort to degrade their capabilities. The threat has come more via the keyboard from homegrown, self-radicalized lone operators, a dispersed and networked danger. But IS and AQ are looking to regroup, to exploit conflict and ungoverned spaces to re-establish themselves, while using technology to spread their violent ideologies online. We need agility and good partnerships to defeat these efforts to terrorize, and we need statesmen to address the root causes of the radicalization that lead on to terrorism. In my stint as chief, we've faced many unexpected crises. The implosion of Sudan into civil war, the collapse of the Ghani government in Afghanistan, the end of 53 years of the Assads in Syria, to name but a few. And we pride ourselves in our ability to maintain the long-term relationships which come into their own in a crisis. We sourced intelligence on Sudan in hours. We continue to counter terror emanating from Afghanistan. And having forged a relationship with HTS a year or two before they toppled Bashar al-Assad, we forged a path for the UK government to return to the country within weeks. Syria is a good example of where, if you can get ahead of events, it really helps when they suddenly, unexpectedly move at a faster pace. This nimbleness is a fundamental requirement for MI6, and I think we remain pretty good at it. John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, while discussing a piece of joint business, said to me recently, "You guys can really hustle." We pride ourselves on that hustle, that tenacity, and it's a characteristic that is deeply present in my successor, Blaise Metrovelli, an intelligence officer to her core, with a quarter of a century of experience in this business. She understands the guts of spying. After almost 4 decades in public service, I am now hanging up my cloak, returning my imaginary dagger to its scabbard, and handing over my famous green pen. Running MI6 has been the privilege of my life,